Yeah. Everything. When I don't have the kids, I never get watch some HGTV and things. So, well, I'm doing that.
I don't ask for no money, but I did say. What have done this?
You what?
Yeah.
I hope so. They said they're gonna keep another 2 days each. We just one day decided that we didn't know where he was at. I saw him on Sunday, and he's teasing my youngest, and he's teasing Logan, and they're bantering back and forth, and yeah, things are happening. We've done that to test for eyesight, and that's we've been blind, we can't hear, but there was some things. And then it's on Monday night, the checks in on him, and said, I need you to be honest. I thought it was for paperwork until long ago there on Tuesday. Didn't mind him over. And he didn't want to go. And we both said, shut him in the car or go here, and you just get up and go. Stupid. But he was, by the time he got there, he was also like, why am I here?
Okay, for you.
He asked him who the president was. He said, I know, it's like, you better just work. So we're just hoping that he's figure out whatever it is.
But, what happened? I think when she just got the message, it was just like,
This time. Oh, I think that's a good idea. You want to probably move it somewhere?
What was that?
You want to probably move it somewhere?
Oh, no, I usually sit there, but that's what it's.
I wish I could do it remotely. I wish I could just pop over my three screens. During the meeting, but then still control.
Yes, they're told us.
Yeah, they do it. Well, actually, it's yeah, and mentioned it to a couple of people I know.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. Felicia. Yeah. Like, yeah. I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's an answer to that. Either no, it should be the one. That's fine.
But I don't think, like I'm saying, people run into
And as I was saying, I wouldn't even know what the last was. For me, I can.
But depending on the weeks, sometimes it works out. No.
Actually, that's not true. That's not true. I was told. Really? Because I just scheduled this meeting out on Tuesday, and I'm like, oh. And I saw something.
It's the week after the right? And they
Oh, yeah.
will,
Yeah, there's 3 weeks.
yeah.
Yeah, you should be good, Jen. The last edit was made at 4:23.
Oh.
So I'm concerned that it's 2.5 feet taller. So. I don't see their appearance. If you can't tell, I despise Tom Cruise.
I'm not a big fan of their and the only one who can bring it out to me is Summer.
I've seen that movie.
I love him in that. But I don't really like him mostly.
As a certified child of the 80s, I was the only girl in my high school who did not have a thing for him.
All right.
All right.
Gotta get down to work.
Go. Okay. Silver Park.
I didn't mind seeing it because I was at that time. And he was sitting in
Yeah.
the way was standing there. I mean, that makes sense.
The teacher, okay.
It's okay, we'll hold it down.
Their best PLP planning day with the legacy people today. Legacy teachers. Legacy, they have to be on or which sites? Legacy? Yes, David was there too. I knew. We're all gonna get. Are we all going to? I told when they go. Stand up for their yeah, let's do the tap in, then go take yeah. But I think we're all there with our shirts. Yeah. Even if we're not using it. Yeah. Don't ever get on. I do. Yeah. Yes. That was a while ago. You know the years, right? October.
Oh, no. I don't.
Yeah.
You always do. Thank you. I appreciate your.
I have to get a designated exerciser.
We're a human, right?
You need a sweater like Jenny so that you could do a incarnation.
You know what the United States would be if all the colors were painted?
Oh,
Better.
It should be a pink carnation. 6th grade.
let's see, where are we? We're on town guest. I guess it's town guest. Keep the 30 minutes being on the board. Just on the what committee? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Are you going to be leaving to college next year? Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot both you and Kylie on the younger side. Because for a while we had a rule where you could only board number. There's also a student position that's going to come up on yeah. I was going to talk about that today. Hey, Rich, where's Bill? Oh.
That was better, right? Love it.
Oh. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
It's going around.
I know.
Welcome, everyone. I'll call the meeting to order. Welcome to our regularly scheduled school board meeting on April 17th, 2025. It's 6:08. Can we have a roll call?
Stephanie Ahmad.
Here.
Paul Cagorno.
Here.
Rich Carnation.
Here.
Malinali Lopez.
Present.
Bill Adams is absent. Zoe Furmankiewicz.
Here.
And Kylie Hernandez is absent.
Rich, can we have a roll or a flag salute?
Sure.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving to item 2.3, do we have anything to report out of closed session?
We do not.
Okay. And we'll move on to item 3.1, adjustments to the agenda. I know that we have a couple items that we're adding to consent. And I believe Jen is going to tell us about those.
So the first one is the CIF application for multi-school membership. That's on me. Jamie had sent it to me and I just didn't get it on the agenda. I'd forgotten about it. So I'm sorry about that. I promised her I'd get it on if possible.
Are we going to number that one 4.14?
Yes. It'll just go at the very end of consent. And then the other one is a field trip that came in a little bit too late to get on the agenda for this meeting. But if we didn't do it at this meeting, it would be past the date at the next meeting.
And
so we're just going to put that.
4.15.
Yeah.
Okay. And then can you, even though it's, well, I think we need to vote on this.
You do.
So
I'd like to make,
go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we add 4.14 for the CIF edition and 4.15, which is for the field trip,
I'll second.
the consent items.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. So we'll add those, but if you could add them to the agenda online when you have a chance, just so that they're there, that would be great. Okay. Then our first presentation is celebrating success with Jessica Borland, our early education director, and she will be presenting.
Hello, thank you for having me. So I brought some of my staff. You guys want to come up here with me to help me celebrate the success of our programs. So first I'm going to introduce them. So we have Sasha, and she is my coordinator for the preschool. She helps oversee both the Callie and Maddie campuses for our preschool. We have Candy, and Candy's our Brooks coordinator for the WELL program. So she manages all the before and after school care program and the kids and families. And then we have Sherilyn, who has just started at our Cali site for the site supervisor position, and she was originally working at Brooks with Candy. So she's doing an amazing job already. So that's my staff. So here's our program offerings, kind of under my department and the WELL program. We've got our state preschool, and we've got our before school care programs, our after school care programs. We do camps on non-instructional days, and then we also offer summer camps. This year's summer camps are going to be held on our Maddie Washburn campus, and then we'll have preschools on both Callie and Maddie's campus this summer. So as far as our staffing, we've grown a ton since the last time I came and talked to you guys. I think I have about 27 WELL staff operating before and after school care. And then we've got 7 preschool staff currently on Maddie's campus. And here is some pictures of the before and after school care program. We incorporate all kinds of things. On the top right, they actually had a camp out themed summer camp. And so they did tons of, camp out type things. On the top left, you can see that they made a campfire with balls of paper and like a little fire foam looking thing. And then on the top right, they were camping out and reading books in the park. And then we incorporate all kinds of things. They're making some mud pie type things with worms and cookies in the middle on the bottom. Lots of artwork that we do. We have lots of outside time, STEM, we bring in arts. And then here's some pictures of our preschool over at Maddie Washburn. On the bottom right, we have a Montessori corner because we've got a teacher that has 17 years of trained Montessori practice. And so she's bringing in some Montessori themes into our preschool. We have lots of literacy. We deal with emotions, tons of art. And then on the top right, that's just a little picture of our preschoolers. They wanted to say welcome to you guys. And then here's our Cali staff. Our Cali staff, we are at, I think it was 19 WELL staff. and we're at 12 preschool staff. One of the exciting things that we have happening over at on Callie's campus with our preschool is that we've partnered with SRJC and their apprenticeship program, and we just got our very first SRJC apprentice working with us. Our agreement with the JC is that we're going to have that apprentice working until they complete their 2,000 hours to earn their preschool permit, and they'll become a preschool teacher. And while they're working with us, they're also attending SRJC classes and working on their coursework. And here's a little bit from the Callie preschool, and I'll let Sherilyn talk a little bit about what the kids are doing.
We've been doing a lot of activities lately. We've been trying to...
Right here.
If you could use the mic, that would be great. Thank you.
We've been doing a lot of activities recently, incorporating a lot of STEM, physical, and strategy, as well as art. We've been taking advantage of nature and the sunshine out there, and just making sure the kids are being provided with a nourishing environment where they're able to be productive and work. And I'm really excited for the program to grow. So far, everything is going very well, and I'm just very excited. Thank you.
Callie also had the camping theme for their camp. So on the bottom right, we've got one of our staff reading to kids while they are pretending to sleep in a tent. In the middle, we've got some dirt cups. I think they planted seeds. You guys were planting seeds? Yeah. They were planting seeds to take home as part of their camp. And then we've got some pictures from the preschool. The preschool is doing amazing. We've got lots of families that are happy. We do circle time. They also deal with emotions there. Lots of free play, literacy. They have centers where they'll work on a skill. In the middle, they're working on learning how to cut with scissors, which is always fun for the kids. And then the kids love the new play structures out in the yard. And on the bottom right, we're in the housing center, and they've all got their babies, learning how to take care of babies. And here's our Brooks staff. We're at, let's see, what is that? 7 Brooks staff, and we've grown quite a bit. And I'll show in a slide later how much Brooks has grown. This has been my biggest growth in programs. And I'll let Candy talk a little bit about some of the stuff the kids are doing.
All right. Hi. And one of the things that I love about this program is that we can expand to do so many different things because of their age group. Since they are 3rd through 5th, they're at this wonderful age that's very interested in things, and they're not junior hires where they're like, this is not cool. So they're very engaged. So this year we just started doing cooking. So one of the things I love to do is I like to throw the wrong measuring cups out or double recipes. And I'll tell them, I'm like, well, it says this. Well, we don't have that cup. What are we going to do? And since we have 3rd, 4th, and 5th, all of them are learning fractions. So they work together to solve that problem. And to me, that's me adding little education in there. They don't know it. That's fine on me. They're just having a good old time. You can see on the... we do STEM in the sense of it could be anything from like chemical reactions to robotics. They put these things together. Sometimes they struggle, and I let them. And it's okay because they work together as a team so that we can be successful at these things. Because they're also older, we have Anthony is in the back. He is also in charge of the outdoor activities. We don't have a just free play. We just feel like it's too much. One, that you're inviting in behaviors you don't want. So he also runs all the outdoor activities, which means they are structured. If it's baseball, if it's flag football, and what he's driving into those kids is sportsmanship and how to handle losing or having maybe something that didn't go right. How do we handle that? So we're definitely working on the level of how do we deal with our emotions? What are ways that we can do to change our reactions to things? And how can we be a good citizen within that? We do arts and crafts, as you can see in the top. And as you see, there's all kinds of chemicals things going on. One of the things that I also brought this year is when we go into the classes, we are now starting to do some type of mindfulness before we start our homework, because once you get out of school, they're like, And so for us, then we want them to do homework. Well, if you're in that mode, it's definitely difficult to get them to do homework. So we do some type of meditation of some sort, whether it be music or watching something calm or them just resting. And that allows them for like 3 to 4 minutes to calm, regulate, and then help them with, get started with their homework. We also pull out kids that need help, and we specifically work with those kids so we can help them build their skills so that they can be more up with their peers.
We just glazed over Anthony's name, but you all need to know him. He's fantastic, and he's sitting in the back hiding. But
So
he's
now you have to come up.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I remember I walked on Brooks's campus one time, and he didn't know who I was, and he definitely was giving me the eye, like, I'm going to take you out if you're not supposed to be on this campus. So, all right, I like that guy.
I got my money on him.
I have my money on him, too.
Mr. P is definitely an important part of the program. Yes. Okay. Now into the fun part of some of our statistics. So these are the students that we're currently serving as far as enrollment for this year. So you can see that our numbers have jumped up to 478 students. This does include the preschool. So this is the preschool and our before and after school care program. And some students have moved on. So we've got about 31 kids that we were serving, and for various reasons, they've dropped our program. Here is our numbers by grade level. And you can see the majority of our students are in kinder, and TK kinder are a big population that definitely needs care. You know, families are looking for before and after school care programs as they're looking for placements for their TK and kinder kids.
Jessica, if I remember correctly, I think we had 4 classes. We had about 100 students being served before our program came online. Is that roughly right?
It was less than that, yes.
It was less than that. That was what we had hoped to get.
That was, yes.
And we often didn't. So I think it was actually 24 less than that, probably.
Yeah, I know that I had many families come to me and say how long they had been on a wait list for ECC before we came on board, and that, you know, they were on there for years. Sometimes their second child would get into ECC for a slot and their first child didn't because they had been on the wait list for that long. So here's our enrollment numbers compared to last year. You can see that Cali has the biggest growth, but the majority of those kiddos are the preschoolers. And we went from, having 1 preschool classroom to having 2 preschool classrooms on Cali's campus. So that's a big portion of what those are. And then Brooks, like as far as Brooks has been our biggest growth. And we're anticipating another large growth next year, because Brooks's campus has only been operating, this is its 2nd year of operation. And so many of the kids that rolled over from last year, from 2nd grade, moving into 3rd grade, stayed with WELL. But this upcoming year will be the final year where we have all our kids that could have been starting in WELL originally. And then here is our enrollment so far for next year. So these are our enrollment requests for next year. And then, thank you. I'm so glad that we could be up here. Do you guys have any questions or anything for us?
I don't have any questions. You're doing an amazing job. Thank you so much. Yeah. As a parent who had trouble enrolling my kids way back when, because now they're old, it just means so much that we have this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Next up is our report from our student board member. Go ahead, Zoe.
Okay, so starting with Brooks Elementary, some recent events were a martial arts presentation, a Charles Schultz presentation, a walk and roll to school day, and an egg drop. And some upcoming events are the PTA meeting on April 22nd, a 5th grade awards assembly April 25th, and a National Administrative Professional Day April 27th. For Maddie Washburn, some recent events were the Student JAGGY Leadership Conference, the 2nd grade Wax Museum field trip, and Pajama Day. And some upcoming events are the Spring Book Fair, the Student JAGGY Leadership Conference, JAGGY Pride Assemblies, an open house, and their first annual Multicultural Day. Cali Cal Mecca, some recent events were Career Day, National Assistant Principal Week, and Teacher of the Year Awards. And some upcoming events are Walk and Roll every Wednesday, an ELAC meeting April 24th, Free Dress Day April 25th, and Coffee with Admin April 25th. Windsor Middle School, some recent events were a Green Out Spirit Day for St. Patrick's Day on April 14th, a 6th grade science camp on March 26th, Color Run on April 14th, and Run Star testing all this week. And some upcoming events are a Giants baseball fundraiser, and there will be select games in April and May. For Big Picture Learning, some recent events were a Leaving to Learn field trip at the Marine Mammal Center on April 2nd, a Big Picture Learning Interest Night on April 2nd, and an SRJC Enrollment Help Night on April 2nd. And some upcoming events are the students continuing their LTIs. And then for Windsor High School, some recent events were a Academic Awards Ceremony April 4th, a movie night April 10th, an Easter egg hunt hosted by Kiwanis and the Key Club on April 12th, and then senior project presentations on April 15th. And some upcoming events are a Corsage and Boutonniere workshop on April 19th, Prom Spirit Week April 22nd, April 25th, a promposal contest April 25th, and the students who win get free prom tickets. Prom Rally April 25th, which is open to everyone in the public, and then prom on April 26th.
Thank you, Zoe. Anyone have any questions about that? Nope. Okay. Assistant Superintendent report. Brian.
Hello, good evening, board. At the last board meeting, Trustee Lopez asked that we prepare a presentation on how we are serving our Latinx students and their families. So we prepared the presentation, but I'm actually going to have the person who prepared it give it. So I'd like to invite up Robin.
Thank you. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm so excited to have been given this opportunity. I am the coordinator for Multilingual Learner Services, as well as the Migrant Ed program and Newcomer Services. And there was so much to put into this presentation. 5 minutes is not nearly enough. So I would like to propose, on behalf of some of our teachers as well, that we make this a regular occurrence. We want to come back more. We want to talk about more. We want to bring students and student work. So thank you for bringing this on. And yes, we'll come back. So here's a little snapshot of who our Latinx students and families, well, students are in the district. You can see on the left, of the screen. It's broken down by school, the percentage of students that reported being Hispanic or Latino into our ARIES data collection. And our district is more or less, 50% for each school site. Cali is more at like 75%, 76%. And district-wide, we're at 56%, which is the same amount as the California statistic. So like the statewide statistic is exactly 56%. I thought that was interesting. On the right-hand side, it's the number of students. So broken down by school site, how many students are multilingual learners and how many are in our migrant education program. Down at the bottom is the total for the school, or for the district. So here's what I'm going to touch on tonight. The top three are part of my purview, my job description. I am in charge of multilingual learner department. Multilingual learner, it was known as English learner in the past, so it's kind of a rebranding. When I took on the job, it's been a movement across the EL and the ML world where we're honoring that these students are multilingual learners, not just English learners. All of our students are English learners, but these students have an additional sometimes many languages that they're learning, and we wanted to honor that and really celebrate that amazingness. The Migrant Education Program, Newcomer Services, and then I need to highlight our amazing bilingual community liaisons and some special family and cultural events that we have going on in the district. So in the multilingual learner department, again, we're honoring home language. We are focused on not replacing their home language with English, but by honoring both languages, translanguaging, bringing in Spanish, bringing in other languages that are spoken at home. We have a really strong department right now, amazing staff. We have a SCO collaboration where we go 4 times a year to their multilingual learner collaboration. And our staff, our multilingual learner site coordinators are really taking on a leadership role, especially with our curriculum mapping. There have been some recent shifts, such as our inclusive model at Maddie Washburn and Brooks, where students aren't being pulled out for ELD as like an intervention. They're staying for core instruction. We do give a little extra support, not during course instruction. They get pulled out for like our newcomers, our emergent bilingual students or multilingual students. And then we did a lot of, well, I gotta give props to Principal West, as well as the Cali team for protecting electives for our multilingual learners. Because in the past, historically, to be labeled as a multilingual learner, it was like a punishment because you would miss out on your elective. But they've protected that, and they did it for 7th and 8th grade at Windsor Middle last year, and it's gonna be for 6th grade as well this coming year. So a lot of work with the master schedule. And then parent involvement through the ELAC and the DLAC. And this is where I could do like 5 minutes of slides on the amazing ELAC meetings we're having, as well as our DLACs, where Malinali Lopez has spoken. Thank you so much. So here's our department. These are amazing teachers. They are across all of the schools. This is the team that goes to the SCO collaboration. Each of these teachers is so dedicated and passionate about this work. They have reached out to their principals and saying, please let me be part of this department. Let me be part of this work, because they care so much about their students. And our main focus is high quality instruction. So one of my, tasks and accomplishments last year was that we adopted a K-12 ELD curriculum. And we didn't have something K-12. It's Vista Higher Learning. They were piloting the program at the middle school, and they loved it. And we looked at all of the different features, and they have a program for newcomer students as well as our students who are showing, near fluency. And so we adopted that program. It's going really well. All of the teachers are loving it. There's an online component. The students are showing really great progress in their fluency. And so I think we'll see the results in the LPAC results as they roll in towards the end of the year. We're also really engaged in culturally relevant instruction. And again, just mentioning the talented and passionate staff. So the last time I was here in front of the board, I was presenting on the Migrant Ed Summer School program, and that's been a couple of years, and I'm happy to announce we're bringing it back this summer. So our migrant education program, we have almost 300 students now district-wide, and we are going to run a STEAM summer school program in conjunction, working with the WELL program and Jessica at Maddie Washburn. It's TK to 5th grade. And then there's also the Adelante program, which is run by the region, but that is going on. It's going to be their 50th year. If you can believe that. Yeah, 50 years of Adelante. So the students get picked up here in Windsor and taken to Santa Rosa Junior College. And it's a credit recovery, and also just enrichment. It's a great program. We have an amazing migrant education program counselor, Malia Sullivan. I can't say enough about her. She goes above and beyond connecting families with community resources, and she guides and counsels students on success, especially at the high school level. She's connecting students with the junior college, with grants, with scholarships, specifically for multilingual learners and migrant students. And then we have a really robust and well-attended parent advisory committee. It's on Zoom, but we always have like 30 parents regularly attending monthly meetings. We bring in speakers based on topics that they've chosen at the beginning of the year. And it's just a wonderful community, wonderful families. So. The newcomer student services. So our newcomer student population has grown a lot in the last couple of years. And so again, coming into the position last year, I saw kind of a need, and there were already things started, especially the core at the high school. So the core Danielle did a lot of work, Principal Buckman did a lot of work with her team there, building out like a English language arts, ELD support, social studies, and a science. And so those are the 4 teachers. Now we're adding math to it next year. One of our teachers is going to take on a special newcomer student math class. So that's the RISE Corps. They came up with their name. They are doing amazing field trip. You can see they're at the top there. They're on a field trip at the at Bodega Bay. Here, I want to go to the field trip slide. So here's some of their field trips. They went to the UC Davis Coastal and Marine Sciences Institute out at Bodega Bay. They've gone to Safari West. They went to the junior college. They're really building the core, which is a safe and academically challenging support system at the high school. I'm going to go back just for a moment because the middle school then adopted the name RISE Corps. So now we have this collaboration between the 2 schools. We had student mentorships last year, like part of their senior project for the high school kids. They would go down and mentor the kids at the middle school, giving them advice and you know, as newcomers themselves. It was really beautiful, and we're going to continue that. At the middle school, Malia and the counselors there, Leonor and Paolo, are doing these wonderful weekly groups for the newcomers. And we also adopted a district-wide newcomer welcoming and intake process where we have an interview, we gather some information so that we can best support these students. So it's really exciting what's happening for supporting our newcomer students so that they can be successful, not just in their classes as they get like an accelerated introduction to English, but then as they go out into the general ed classrooms. Here are some wonderful events, and these are actually all related to Cali Calmeca. They have had some really great cultural and family events, such as the Dia de los Muertos. Last year we had a math and literacy night, and then this year they just got done with a really successful family literacy night. And then the Ballet Folklorico dancers are up there on the top left, and that's actually them performing at one of our DLAC meetings. So they jump in and they do their performances all over. You see them in the Windsor Day Parade and many events. And that was one of the big pieces of feedback that we got at our ELAC and our DLAC meetings is the desire to have more cultural events. So that's what we're focused on, to have more of these cultural events district-wide. Oh, I forgot. Yes, I'm hearing that. We are going to have, what Cali is going to have, provided by Maestra Cruz back there, salsa lessons for families with childcare provided. So that's coming up. So stay tuned and come join. Yeah, she's a pro. She's a pro. So this just happened on April 1st, our reclassification celebration. It was the first of many. We are going to do this every year. It was beautiful. So many principals, administrators showed up, assistant superintendents, shaking hands, high fives, board members. It was beautiful. So this is the first of many. We're going to do this every year to celebrate our students who pass the LPAC and then are reclassified from English learners or multilingual learners to fluent, are reclassified fluent English proficient. So it was really beautiful at the middle school. Here's another support that we offered. This was a collaboration between myself, Malinali, Heather Bailey, and actually Richard Koshner, Maggie's father over here. Great, amazing local immigrants' rights lawyer. We offered 2 different sessions, one in English, one in Spanish. This was after the new administration took office, and we wanted to support some of our immigrant families. Lots of great Know Your Rights information was given out. It was a Zoom webinar. And I cannot talk about supports for our Latinx families without mentioning our bilingual community liaisons who are welcoming our families in the front offices of every school. We have Jenny Alvarez at Maddie, Esmeralda Alvarez at Brooks, Cynthia Caballero, who is new into her position at Windsor Middle, and Javier Contreras at Windsor High School. And Callie has a office staff full of bilingual liaisons, basically. Every front office is a welcoming place for our Latinx families, and they can always find translations and help, as well as Malia Sullivan. She's always available for the families. So I wanted to finish with a quote from Juan Felipe Herrera, who is the first Latino poet laureate for the United States. And in Spanish, cuando caminamos juntos, nuestras palabras se convierten en puentes. So just thinking that all together, that working together, I'm blessed to be in the position I am to work with all of these amazing people who bring the services to our Latinx families. I'm grateful to you all for showing interest and wanting to know what is happening district-wide, and I look forward to continuing this work into the future. So thank you. Any questions for me?
I just have a quick question. Well, first, I should comment that I love this presentation. So thank you so much for taking the time, to put all this wonderful information together for us. And I think it was really much needed. And I also agree that I think that this should be a recurring item on our agenda. So thank you. My only question that I had, because I've heard differing opinions on this from different staff, is if you're a newcomer, let's say you're an immigrant and you're only monolingual in Spanish, or maybe possibly an indigenous language, do you get extra support at every single grade level, including preschool, kindergarten, all the way through 12th grade?
So our supports are definitely in place down to kindergarten. Robin Parrish is supporting all of those students. She pulls kindergarten through fifth grade students at Maddie and Brooks for that intensive, not during core instruction, but for that intensive language support, as well as supporting teachers so that they can help students in the classroom. Preschool and TK would be an area that could use more support.
And then if that needs more support, is this a question of that we need more staff, or do we need more funding, or what is this? What is the missing piece that needs to fall into place?
Yeah, well, and so the case with the younger kids is like so many of the students are just entering school for the first time. Like they might come from Spanish speaking families. So even if they didn't just move here, they're all at the same level. Well, many of the students, our language learners, are at the same level. So I think supporting our TK and kinder, all of the Maddie classrooms, right? And the preschool, training with the teachers. And that's something where we're headed with the PLT, PLC work is there's a whole section that we're about to dive into of multilingual learner supports. And we're actually approaching it as best first instruction for all students, because all students will benefit from these strategies. But I believe that will address the needs by going through the teachers and having it be an inclusive classroom that addresses the needs of those unique learners, but of all unique learners and of all learners, really. So I think we can do it without like a specific staff. I think with Robin in place, as students kind of separate from the crowd, and we're seeing these students need more help, or they are recently arrived. But really, a lot of our TKers, preschool, kinder, they're in the same boat. They're in the same language level. So I think we can address it with the classroom and small group work within the classroom.
So let's say you have a family that has a high school student and a kindergartner. Obviously, they're going to be at very different literacy levels in Spanish. How would you welcome that family if they have, students that have a wide, age gap?
Well, one thing that we're going to do with our DLAC meetings next year is we're going to have them all together so that families who have students at different schools, we're going to start together as like a DLAC, split off into the school sites, and then come back together. So that'll give the families a chance to be together despite where their kids what schools their kids are at. I think that's one way we'll have the families feel part of a community. And I think more events, right? Bringing the families back, family literacy nights, math nights. I think that's to get families involved. And then also our newcomer intake process really establishes where each student is. We're doing additional assessment to find out where they are in English, but also in their native language. Well, in Spanish, we have more tests in Spanish than indigenous languages. So we're really targeting where they are and helping them move forward. So giving the classroom teacher more information, but also the specialist, the interventionist more information. We'll see how it goes, and if we do need to put more in place, we can.
Yeah, I think that's something that would merit having more data about in the future, maybe for a future report out. to see how we're doing with that?
I will put that on there. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you for your thoughtfulness.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate it. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate the
I'll be
presentation.
back in a minute.
Okay, great. Okay, superintendent's report.
All righty, let's do this. So Maddie Washburn, it was already mentioned, had their wax museum. So if you've never been, they have little buttons. They've memorized some lines from some famous people, and you go and jump on their button, and then they tell you about the person that they are. It's always a fun event. So the other event that Maddie Washburn had was their art walk, which showcased all the work done in support of IVAPA. Remember, we have Prop 28 funds that have been invested at Maddie Washburn. We have VAPA instructional aids, and our teachers do lots of art. This was already mentioned, but there's some of the same pictures, and it was a good event. I'll leave it at that. I don't think I need to go through it again, but this is awesome. You see Malinali speaking. This is a pretty proud moment for a lot of these kids. They've had to work pretty hard to get to this point. So great event. Information night coming up about the various independent study options in our district. You can see it's on May 15th. I also want to highlight on the right-hand side, so Sonoma County Virtual Academy, we call it Secova. There are 89 total students. That's a brand new school this year that started at 0 students in August. And we're up to 89 students, and 43% of those students are on an interdistrict transfer. So the word is out. We run a good program, and a lot of kids are coming to take advantage of it. And so these kids they're not on a school site, right? They're doing everything online, but we're managing their progress and making sure they're being successful. Rich, you have a question?
I think I know the answer, but is Secova, is that a charter or not?
It's not a charter. We did not charter Secova. It's considered an independent study school. Which
It's part of our school. Right?
it's part of our district.
They're,
Yep.
they're part of the school still.
Well, I mean, Cali is too kind of, but
It is. Yep.
I just didn't know if it was a charter or not.
It is not a charter, and just so there's two different types of charters. There's independent and dependent. Cali's a dependent charter, meaning we're still in charge of the budget and all the things. Independent charters, we authorize one. It's called Village Charter, if you guys have heard of Village. So there are different types of charters as well, but this isn't a charter. This is just one of our schools. Smart Train, Heather wanted me to let everybody know that there's some random testing that's taking place right now. You guys probably already know this since we live, we're here in Windsor. But May 1st to the 27th is really what we should talk about, because that's at the end of the year, and there's going to be a bunch of empty trains that are running on a planned service schedule, like daily, and there's going to be pauses for additional tweaking. The tentative opening date is May 27th, but they're planning 44 trains per day into Windsor. 8 trains between 7:30 and 9:15 a.m. Why do I highlight that? It's when school starts, lots of traffic in Windsor at that time. We don't know exactly how long the closures are going to be, but we could have significant traffic impacts. So just people should know. And we're going to be making some safety focused videos with the high school and make sure we share it with all families.
Can we make sure that we work with SMART and advertise and let all the folks in Santa Rosa, Cotati, and Petaluma know that train comes right to where the high school is, and they can walk right there, so the IDT numbers can go through the roof?
We can. Heather actually included that in the initial slide, and I took it out. But yes, we can.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Wow.
Yes, we're actually already working with SMART on this. We've had a couple meetings with them, and that's definitely a push for them as well there. So yeah, we're on top of that.
I mean, I don't think the Santa Rosa officials are excited about that, but
No.
I think smart folks, I like that. The smart folks, I just see a lot of potential here.
See, Rich, I figured we'd do that, but I wouldn't highlight it potentially.
Oh, no, I want to brag about it.
We also had a district-wide professional development day on the 11th, and we hosted a presentation by Nicole Dimich. She works for Solution Tree, which is somebody that we've been working with for some time now. And she is an expert in developing assessments. So she helped our staff and really differentiated between elementary and secondary and how to design effective common formative assessments. So throughout the district, each site focused on something different. She was a 3-hour portion of the day, and then the other part of the day was spent doing something else. So Maddie Washburn concentrated on strengthening their Tier 1 phonics instruction. It was a great presentation given by Nicole, who's one of our teachers there. Brooks, and actually I should go back. The Tier 1 phonics instruction is something called UFly. It's really taken root in our school district and in other places as well. It's fairly new. But I believe it came out of Florida. Paul, is it Florida? Do you remember? I think it's Florida. Thank you. Yeah, I should turn around and ask you guys. Right. But it was really fun to watch, and she makes you follow along and be a student. And I got to play and learn something. Brooks, the middle school and the high school dedicated that day to curriculum mapping and the development of common formative assessments. And then Callie worked on vertical articulation as well as curriculum mapping. Curriculum mapping never ends, right? It's just tweaking what you're doing and how you're teaching. So that's always a need. And that's it for this month. So any questions? All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Staff Association reports. Why don't we start with WDEA, since you're already standing up. Susanna Pfeffer.
In the interest of keeping this a short night, I have a very short report, and I know CSEA has a lot to share. Welcome back. Just a couple of things from WDEA. As you know, and I'm sure you discussed in closed session, we are in the thick of negotiations, and we are looking forward to coming to some agreements that help both our students in the district and our staff thrive. I also want to mention that WDEA has awarded 6 scholarships this year to graduates of our members, 6 from Windsor High School, 1 from Santa Rosa High School, and 1 from a high school in Wisconsin. That's a first for WDEA. So they, our Windsor High School recipients will be receiving their awards next Thursday. Hope to see you there. That's it.
Okay, thanks. Okay, CSEA, and good to see you, Ross. We're glad to have you back.
Be anywhere.
I know, it's so cool to have him here. And he came to our chapter meeting last night. Oh, hello. Good evening, board. I forgot to address you. I'm Sheila Womack, Vice President, CSEA. I'm super tickled to be here with a slideshow. I feel like I'm part of a club or something. Like, this is my first slideshow. So I'm sure down the road, when I keep bringing more, I'm going to look back at this and be like, oh, I could have done a little bit better. But you know what? I'm going a little crazy on slides now these days, but I'm learning a lot. I live in Google Suite, and this is a new adventure for me. So I'm excited to bring this to you tonight, the things we've been up to. So we are Chapter 673, Windsor. We're kind of a big deal. Before I get started, I do want to say something really fast because they've talked about scholarships. We weren't unfortunately able to provide a scholarship. We normally have been able to do 2. We couldn't do it this year. We've been just depleted in funds, but we are working really hard to build up our reserves. And so we are setting a goal for next year to at least have 2 scholarships. But we had Rich Carnation stop by our chapter meeting last night, and he donated 5 leis for 5 Windsor High School students who may not be able to have that extra, with their gown and to walk, with their lei like a lot of the kids do. So we were so appreciative to get those, and thank you, Rich. And Cynthia will be working with, she works at the high school, so she will be coordinating with counselors to see who we can give these to. So we're really grateful to give something, but next year we're going to come in big. So, but thank you, Rich. We appreciated that. So I guess I'm in control of my own thing. Oh, this is really cool. Okay, so I'm going to click next. Okay, I think if I can, maybe I don't know how. Let's find out. It's the big button, right? Oh, okay. Oh, yay. Okay, so guess what? We finally have a Facebook page. You got to follow us. I've been pleading and wishing for so long to have a Facebook page, and we finally do. We're CSEA Chapter 673. You can find us. Actually, CSEA Chapter 673 liked WUSD's little talking piece you guys did with Stephanie and Jeremy. I found that very interesting, so I liked it and made a comment. So follow me back, follow us back. We've got lots of things going on. We're going to keep posting. Go to our next one. Oh, and the animations are working. Yay. Okay, so we had our first town hall style meeting, and it was super exciting. This is basically, we did it Zoomless, no notes. We want a safe space for our members to come and share whatever. You know, if they need to vent, if they want to share something exciting, I took some time to gather shout outs so that I could post that to our Facebook page, and sending out email to our folks to shout out people that we appreciate and who we work with, and really trying to create some positivity and presence. And it was wonderful. I left there with the biggest smile on my face driving my car. I live in Santa Rosa. If somebody was driving by me, I would have looked like a total weirdo, but I was so happy. I don't know. I've just been really happy with the direction that CSEA is going. So yeah, that was awesome. We're learning a lot. So I just went to an Area B Leadership Institute training. And I learned a lot there. I think that the great thing about CSEA is that they do teach so much to us. And I think leadership, it's a big one. I mean, we want to be leaders and we want to grow. I mean, I know I do. And one of the things I learned there that I didn't know, and I've been an engaged union member for about 20 years, as we're member run, and there are 250,000 of us in California, and we are the largest union in the nation. I thought that was pretty impressive. We are affiliated with the AFL-CIO. They are working right now on training us, focusing in on the emotional EQ, I guess you could say, as leaders, so that we are in tune with our members. We secure wages, and we provide member support. We settle grievances. We do some goal planning. We did a lot of goal planning, actually. It was really cool. And I have a lot of goals and dreams. See if we can make that happen, all these things happen. And a lot of team development, so much more. So we are union proud. What types of trainings do CSE members receive? Oh, we receive so much. So communications training. Right now, we are without a communications person. So if any of our members are watching this, sign up. Come join this, our e-board. I've been doing that. I've been wearing a lot of hats, but I know Ross is coming back and he's going to share the load with me. We do communications training, member intern programs. I actually applied to be an intern as a labor rep. I don't know where that's going to go, but I'm kind of excited to learn and even just become a stronger negotiator in our negotiations. Officer skills training. So for each of us, we have our president, vice president, a communications person, and we have our treasurer. So we all get really good training to do our jobs. We have union steward training. We learn how to represent our people when they're being called in for discipline or anything that they may not sometimes know. We're there for them. And we've got 5 of us right now. We actually have a lot, but we have a few of us out. So I've been kind of everywhere, but it's good. I'm learning so much with all of it. And I learn even from the principals that I'm sitting with, just how to run it and what it looks like. So it's been good. I've just been doing a lot of learning. So we've got the site rep training. I want us to build site representatives at each site who can be watchdogs and people there's someone there for everyone. We do bargaining academy training, paraeducator trainings, maintenance and operation trainings, leadership academy, and know your rights training, and pre-retirement trainings. And I have yet to go to a pre-retirement training, but in the next 12 to 15 years, I'll be retiring, but I need to learn stuff. So I'll be hitting that up soon. We have something exciting coming up. It's Classified School Employee Week. You all know this happens every year. So it's May 18th through the 24th. And the theme for this week is Trusted, Inclusive, and United. And we've been recognized as essential frontline workers who keep our schools up and running. There is a quick video. We're not going to go there, but it was engaging. The video was cute. But yes, Trusted, Inclusive, and United. That is what we are. That's our theme. And along with that, I don't even know what happened here. Oh dear. That's all right. We'll be flexible. So along with that Classified Employee School Week, the bigger association of CSEA does what is called an ACE program, and it's appreciating classified employees. And so what we do, and I'm going to do a micro version of this, like with our district. And I've gotten some approval from our directors here and our members last night to run a little mini program. And I want to invite you as well to shadow our folks during this week. I'm working on a scheduler that I would send out to you to sign up and work with our people. Just step a minute in our shoes and see what it is that we do. When I shared this last night at the meeting, people's eyes were really big. I wasn't sure they were even going to want anyone to follow them, but they were like, oh yeah, bring it. Like they were just excited that you guys and our directors and maybe principals will join in on this. And I'll be sending that out. And please sign up and come out and appreciate our employees that week. Okay. And actually that's it. I tried to keep it short and sweet. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. Okay, Board of Trustees report. Who has anything? Anyone?
I have a couple of items. So the first one that I want to say is that I enjoyed so much being part of the reclassification celebration that happened with the ELD staff and then also administrators. It was just so much fun to see, these children that are so small, but they're so hopeful about what the future brings, and the parents were there and they were so proud, and it was just really reaffirming to look out at the sea of parents' faces because it reminds me, why I sit here on this board. So thank you so much to Robin for inviting me to do that. And then with that, I was really reflecting on the importance of the fact that half of our student population are, Mexican or Chicano or Latino. And, really what that brings to us in our district. And what came to mind to me is that they are the future, that they, with all of the skills that they bring, that they're not, how should I say, they're not students that, we should feel sorry for the fact that they have to struggle to learn English, for example, or that maybe it's hard for them to adapt academically, but really that they're here to enrich our district, right? We, as a district and as a community in Windsor, we benefit from their language skills, from the cultural skills that they bring, with all the traditions. So, for example, imagine what Cali Calmeca would be without all of those beautiful cultural celebrations. It would not be the same school, right? So all of these families bring with them so much, and I believe that in our district, what we need is a way and a language to honor all of those traditions. So I believe, Robin, your work is, the beginning of that. And I think all of the work of the educators at Cali is really, the beginning of us having a language for honoring these students and their families and their contributions. Because I think, unfortunately, in our media and in many other places, we tend to talk about immigrant families, especially as if they are victims, but they're not victims. They're strong, resilient people who have the courage to go to a new country and, start fresh, right? So this is very honorable and courageous, what they do every day. So I hope that we continue to have these conversations. And with that said, the reason why I share this is also because I believe that we just need better communication processes as well. In our district, I feel like one place we could start is that we have a lot of messaging that goes out to our parents in our district. And a lot of this messaging is not written originally in Spanish. So because of that, it loses a lot of context. It loses a lot in the process of being translated. So I believe that we also need to spend more time actually drafting communication messaging that is in Spanish, because we need to adapt it for what parents need to hear and in the style and tone that they need to hear it in, because not everything translates perfectly well, and I think that this leads to a lot of errors in our communication. So I know this may sound humorous, but I've shared this with Superintendent Decker that one day I got a communication about how seniors at the high school were being invited to a career night. And instead of it saying and translated into seniors at the high school in Spanish, it translated to senior citizens are being invited to a career night. So it sounds funny, but at the same time, I think it reminds me that unless we change the way that we do things,
we are treating our, families who are bilingual or multilingual or who are immigrant, we're treating them like they're second-class citizens, right? Like they are an afterthought in the processes of how we do things, and that's not okay. So we need to do better. I also think that, in order to understand, well, what does doing better even mean, right? I think that, when we increase the level of engagement of parents that are bilingual or multilingual, then that could be an important benchmark to measure, are we being successful with our marketing and our communication? I think that, that needs to be looked at, as well as, how many messages are we sending out that are written originally in Spanish and that are culturally sensitive, to families that speak a language other than English. I think that we need to measure these performance outcomes to see, are we actually successfully engaging our parents? Another benchmark that I think is very important is, of the ELL students that graduate, are we also keeping track of that benchmark? I don't know at this point, but I think that that's another one to really look at, because for me, since I grew up in an immigrant household, I know that the dream of any immigrant parent is that ultimately your child graduates from high school and they, go either off to college or a trade school, or that they are on the beginning of their career. And that is the dream, right? So I think that we need to measure, are we rising to that occasion, to make that possible for all families? So I really think that, these students are the future, right? Because they bring so much with them, and we need to honor that. So I just wanted to share that. And then the second thing I wanted to share about is also that we recently had a special study session about students with disabilities and also the disciplinary policies. And I want to commend the staff for putting together a very excellent presentation, because the matrix that they presented was really key to understanding how our processes work. And for me, that was really important because I learned a lot, and there were many things that I did not know. And now I feel like I understand it so much better. But just like immigrant families and families that are bilingual and multilingual, I also believe that our students with disabilities are the future. And the reason why I say that is also because when you go through a lot of hardship in your life, you learn how to problem solve. So I think that we also need a language for honoring what families that have students with disabilities go through, because they are the future as well. They have been through a lot. They have had to be very resilient in order to problem solve how to care for their child. So I think that we also need to lean into, how do we honor, their challenges and what they have to overcome in order to be inspired by how can we problem solve in our district, to help accommodate them. So I think that there's just a lot of conversations that still need to be had about populations in our district that are more vulnerable and thinking about them in a futuristic way. So that is all.
Rich, do you have anything? Paul? Okay, I don't either tonight. Let's see. Do we have any public comment on non-agenda items? If not, I won't read the whole spiel. It doesn't look like we do. So we'll move on to 3.9, which is approval of the minutes from March 13th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we'll vote all together. All in favor? Aye. I think that was all of us. I don't think we do public comment on the minutes, but does anyone have a public comment on the minutes? No. Okay, we checked. Okay, and so that passes, and then we move to item 310, which is Pete Sullivan's item. He'll be presenting staff recognitions.
Good evening. So we have gone full circle. So we are back to Windsor High School. We start at Windsor High School and we rotate the recognitions around the district, kind of ending with district-wide recognitions, which we did last month. So this month we're bringing it back to the high school, and we'll be celebrating two phenomenal staff members from the high school. If you know Joel Smith, you love Joel Smith. He is amazing. Joel and I had an opportunity to work together when I was over at the school, and we weren't, it wasn't Renstar at the time. What was that? iReady. Oh my goodness. I'm glad I had forgotten that. Joel made iReady fun because I couldn't quite understand it and he captured everything for me. He was fantastic. Joel is our testing coordinator now and a library assistant at the high school. Joel plays a critical role in coordinating all site-based and site testing and leads much of the data collection for RenStar. As our go-to for quick technical assistance, Joel is always willing to lend a hand to teachers, students, and families, ensuring that everything runs smoothly. His expertise in managing various testing processes and his commitment to supporting others make him a huge asset to our site and to our district, and we are grateful for his dedication and hard work. Thanks, Joel. For our certificated celebration tonight, we are going to celebrate Michaela Strathman. Michaela is a special education teacher, and she's been with our district for 7 years. And in that time, she's continuously grown and sought new challenges. Michaela manages multiple preps this year and assignments while taking on additional leadership responsibilities as the 504 coordinator. And she's made a significant impact by supporting the academic development of our students. And as a department rep, she has been instrumental in helping coordinate the development of the new model of special education, which we are bringing to our district. We're lucky to have Michaela in our district, and we appreciate her commitment and excellence in education. Thank you, Michaela. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Pete. Okay, moving on to consent. Do you want to take this one, Rich? Okay, and it's items 4.1 through 4.15.
Yes.
I guess.
So I'd like to make a motion that we accept, well, first off, is there any recusals, anybody?
I think so.
That we accept items 4.1 through 4.15, the last two being the 4.14, the CIF acknowledgement, and 4.15, the field trip for the group. I'd like to make a motion that we accept these, and then I have a little, just want to make an acknowledgement real quick.
I'll second.
All right. The one thing that I wanted to do is 4.16. I wanted to just mention that the Lions Club, I know that they list them, but sometimes it's just nice to say, hey, the Lions Club, they donated $500 to the middle school. And then also we have, which one is it, Austin? It's the 4.11, or is it 12?
Yeah.
Well, we had another one.
4.13.
What is it?
1.3.
1.3?
Oh, yeah.
Got it. And that's where the town of Windsor made a donation as well. So it's just nice to, even though it's on consent, sometimes people might miss it, but the Lions Club, a lot of people in town do things. And so, we all have budgets and stuff. And just like Christmas presents, anytime you get something extra you weren't planning on, it's always kind of cool. And so it's nice to recognize when people go above and beyond and help other folks. And so anyhow, but that's pretty much it. Just wanted to mention those people publicly.
Thank you for doing that.
So.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. I think discussion is complete. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I'm going to take a 3-minute break, super quick break, and then we'll do.
Can I ask everybody, am I the only person freezing in this place? Or could we cut down on the electrical consumption of that air conditioner?
Yeah. I don't know.
And I'm the thickest guy here and I'm freezing,
So
some of you skinny people must really be chilly.
thank you, Rich. I actually have a blanket.
There you go. Can we turn that thing down or something?
Okay, we'll be back in 2 to 3 minutes. Just quick stretch your legs and then looking forward to the presentation. Is this working now? Okay, we're going to get started. Okay, everyone, we're going to get started. We'll reconvene. We're going to continue on to item 5.1. This is consideration of presentation on preschool through third grade coherence collaborative. This item will be presented by, I have Annette Zucconi, but that's not who is here.
So sorry she can't be with us.
Okay.
She is homesick.
So please take it away.
All right,
Introduce
so
yourself again and go ahead.
Another hat I wear is that I'm the lead teacher for our pre-K to 3, the P3CC coherence collaboration. So for the past 3 years, Windsor Unified did a literacy collaboration with the P3CC, and now we're starting on a math 3-year collaboration. And so this is the team here, and we have teachers. Oh, sorry, let me talk about the collaboration first. We have 6 other schools that we're collaborating with all throughout the state of California. You can see them there on the map. We travel around. We go to Sacramento. We go down to Burbank, and we go to Livermore. We've gone to Livermore. Here's the team. So we have teachers and admin from 3 school sites, from Maddie Washburn, from Brooks, and from Cali Calmeca, as well as Jessica, part of our child development, and then Annette and myself from curriculum and instruction from the ed services team. So there's the team. Here we are. We have our shirts. Math is a piece of pie, a little math. We've got our sparkly names made by Kim over at Brooks. I got to give a little shout out. So we started last year, about a year ago, and we met in Sacramento, and then we've had 2 convenings, fall and winter, down in Burbank and then in Sacramento, and then we have our last convening where we meet with all of those, the 7 school districts together, which will be virtual, and it's actually at the beginning of May. So we're wrapping up year 1. The districts work together virtually and in person. We have coaching. Our coach, Luis Argueta, he travels here for our monthly meetings. I meet with the leads on quarterly calls and a monthly meeting with him as well. So he's coaching me directly on all of their Ed Partners systems of improvement. And then we also are building a data culture. We're diving deep into the data and bringing that to the district. All right, I'm going to pass it off to Patricia.
Okay. All righty, so I get to talk to you about our overarching goal through this P3CC collaborative. So again, that's pre-K through third grade and coherence collaboration. So the word collaboration is really the big takeaway here. This collaborative work with other districts throughout California, as well as within our district, is really all about continuous improvement. What I would like to help us do is connect the dots. Continuous improvement syncs up beautifully with our PLC and PLT work. So these are very interwoven. That's our big aha through this first year of work with this math lens. As we partner with other districts, we see, okay, there's other districts in other parts of the state that are also blazing this same trail, maybe hitting some of the same questions or wonderings, and then we work through it collaboratively together. We develop, we execute, and then spread sustainable improvement, okay? And the other keyword I want to highlight there is sustainable. This is not something that we want for 1 year, meaning this level of work. This is sustainable work that as we spread, we do so in a way that will sustain across our district and then hopefully beyond. This is something that could just continue to grow. The other big thing is quantifiable student outcomes. We are looking at data. This is data-rich work and meaningful data that helps inform our team's work, the work within our district, and again, the state of California. We're constantly pulse checking. The four, I like to call them buckets, but there's cogs. The wheels here are turning. That's the P3CC image for us. But these four buckets are what we continually come back to in terms of every collaborative and training or workshop that we've been part of, and also our monthly meetings as a team. So we have clear expectations for grade level standards. Again, there's your direct link to our professional learning communities and PLT work. We're looking at grade level standards from TK through third and really building what our expectations are for students and then expectations for instruction. That leads into then what are the common effective instructional practices, those best practices across the grade level span to improve student learning. Then our own learning as professional learning communities, what are teachers and admin needing to learn to improve our process and our ability to provide the best first instruction for students. So that's where that building teacher and admin capacity comes into play. And then, of course, data. We monitor student progress. It guides our decision making. It's really at the heart or heartbeat of all of the work that we do. And this is data in the most meaningful way.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about a little bit about the what and how of what we're diving into. So we know the what as teachers. You know, we're looking at our content standards. You know, what do the kids need to learn at what grade level? Really, this team is looking at the how, and we're diving into what the mathematical standards are, and you know, kind of doing our deeper dive into how we're teaching the kids mathematical problems. You know, making sense of problems and persevering through them. You know, reasoning and reasoning and quantitatively looking at problems, you know, critiquing and talking through problems with others, using tools, modeling math in other ways, looking for and making sense of structure, and looking for express regularly and repeating reasoning. And turn it over to Lydia.
All right, and with this in mind, we are looking into changing our math practices in the classrooms, and we are building capacity among our administrators and teachers in this new initiative. And it's clear that the focus needs to be in those open task engaging. We are looking into bringing that critical thinking into the classes. We are looking into how culture and language, it's included in all those mathematical tasks where the kids need to be talking and expressing in different ways the way they are seeing those math activities and results too. We are looking into authenticity and bringing realia into everything that they are learning so they can make connections with the real world. And thinking about that, we actually went ahead, administrators and teachers took the whole year in every single site to bring those practices and work with our students to see which ones were those outcomes after that. So we focused on counting collections this year, and it was great. You see me right there, trying to bring that authenticity and that collaboration and we see kids how they are manipulating with real, authentic materials. Some of them were all in costumes. It was Halloween. So with what they had right there, we were filming and we were talking with the kids. The kids were talking among themselves. They were counting. They were figuring out in many different ways how to solve those problems. So it was awesome. It was a great experience. It was great to come from in my experience, high school teaching to a little first grade class and trying to figure out how to, bring that engagement so we didn't lose them, right? It was great. It was an awesome experience. And the kids were asking for more and for more. So that's it.
All right. Thank you. All right. Okay. Good evening, board. So if you were on Facebook yesterday, the board posted an interview with Jeremy, and the first thing Jeremy said was he's looking forward to this collaboration of P3CC. And let me tell you, Jeremy, we grabbed the ball and we ran with it, and we've already scored 4 touchdowns. Let me tell you, we have gone to Maddie, we've gone to Brooks, and we've gone to Callie, and we brought this activity, this lesson that we learned to the teachers. So we can say every single teacher at those school sites have learned, have used this lesson, have within the meeting, and now can use it in their classroom. And I said 4 touchdowns because that's only 3 sites. This is number 4. All right. So with that being said, we're going to go into teacher mode, and we're going to ask everyone to grab your board, your clipboard. And I have everyone here in the front has a clipboard. And if you don't have one, we have a little bit more. And what we're going to do is we're going to show you what we presented to the teachers. And this was a rhombus paper that we created, or that was shown to us, sorry, that we asked the teachers to create. And the first thing we want you to do is put down 25 times 12 right in the middle. And I know some of you are like, math during a meeting? Come on, DeLuna. Ay. But it's going to be fun. All right. So we're going to ask for you to please solve this problem, 25 times 12 on the left side, on the top left side, any way you want. You can write it any way you want. So we're asking everyone to solve 25 times 12. This could be done by numbers. This can be done by images. Use quarters. Anything you like. Draw quarters. Anything you want. As soon as you're done, jump to your right side and show me another way of solving it. A different way of solving it. Please note the silence. They're doing a great job. Everyone's doing great. Thank you. And if you have time, write a little story that goes with that multiplication. If you don't, it's okay. As soon as I start seeing pencils stop moving, I'm going to jump to the final part.
So you want us to write a story?
Yeah, if you have time. Yeah. A little story that goes with your problem. And because we're limited on time, we're going to go about another 10 more seconds. And again, if you cannot get to it, it's okay. The idea is for you to put down 2 different ways to solve 25 times 12. 5 more seconds. And of course, we would never rush our students in our classroom. We don't rush the teachers either. We had a good 70 minutes of meeting time. So right now, we're just trying to condense it all. All right, now I want you to make some noise. I want you to elbow somebody next to you and share one of your strategies. Share your strategies, and then write down your partner's strategy, the strategy your partner wrote onto your paper. So you're actually looking at somebody, or you're elbowing somebody next to you, seeing what they wrote, and then writing down one of their strategies. Don't be shy now. Groups of 3 work too. Groups of 3. I hear giggles. Giggles are okay. All right, I'm going to start bringing everyone back in just for sake of time. All right. Oh, let me jump on it real quick. All right, let's bring it back in. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for participating. And thank you for not running outside and saying, I'm out of here. All right, here we go. So the purpose of what we did right now is to share our new approach. We are working together as a team. Callie, Maddie, Brooks. We're collaborating. We're working together. We're learning in Sacramento. We're learning in Los Angeles. We're coming down, bringing it and presenting and letting teachers know this is what we want. What do we want? We want higher learning in math. We're not going to do drill and kill anymore. We're not going to be sitting down and asking our kids, just get to work, drill and kill, get it done, get it done. No, we're going to go and do what we exactly did right now. What were we doing? Talking. Everyone here was talking. Everyone was sharing ideas. Everyone was collaborating. That's what we want in the classroom. That is exactly what we want in the classroom. I'm going to share the mic here with my compañera, my partner here.
Now we got to adjust the mic because I'm super short. So what we wanted to bring with you is not only is this a really great idea to get them talking, but all the standards that Jessica was talking about earlier, the mathematical practices, just take a moment really quick. And what did you guys see happening in that small, quick activity that you guys just did? That you were making sense of the problem. You were hopefully attending to precision, and as a teacher here, we'll be the ones, checking the work. Oh, does this kid get it? Do they not, working on that? They're reasoning, they're constructing an argument when they're explaining it to their partners. They're using tools. A lot of kids might be doing pictures, especially with our little ones in the lower grades. And they're making sense of the problem. And the other way to make it more reliable, like I just did this in my classroom. I just had my kids write their own word problems, and I'm using those for them to solve. And another way we can use this is using it as a formative assessment. Right on the spot, you're ready to go. It's super quick. In the classroom, we actually have the first and second graders actually fold the paper, so it becomes a little more engaging from the beginning because they're folding the paper. And I think that's about it. So I'll pass it on.
So one of the things that we were doing when we were going around and talking to each site and presenting to them is really talking about instructional decision making and how do we look at our curriculum and decide, what is going to meet those standards and what is going to align with the mathematical practices. So we went around and, helped teachers develop agency by using the next tools that we're going to talk about. So we asked teachers to look at their next lesson plan and decide whether that next lesson plan was a green lesson, which means that you teach the lesson as is, nothing needs to be altered on it, or if it was a yellow lesson, like it's a good lesson, we're going to add a couple of extra things because it's not quite there, or if it's a red lesson is one that we would throw out that we find isn't meeting the standards or the mathematical practices, or it's not, in depth enough to really challenge the students. This one yours? Okay, go ahead.
That's fine. One of the other tools that we were sharing with the each school site was the math task analysis guide. And it's just a way of explicitly showing teachers, okay, we're looking at, okay, these are the lower level demand memorizing tasks, those simple things, those simple procedures. And while we need to do those tasks, they obviously need to learn how to do addition and subtraction, and we need to do practice. It's more a matter of looking at the balance. And so, which way is it going up? This one. That one. Okay. So then also looking at the higher level demands and balancing that with those basic lower level demand tasks. And so this was one of the guides that we gave them to use when we're doing the green, yellow, red process is let's look at what the lesson is asking students to do. Is it just all lower level? Is some of it higher level? And maybe some of those lessons that we would tag as yellow are ones that they're doing the basic tasks, the lower level demand tasks, tasks, but there's not enough of that higher level demand. So we might add to a yellow lesson, add some of those higher level demand tasks where they're having to look at a problem in different ways, showing their work in different ways, using different tools, illustrating it, using manipulatives, solving story problems. Or like third graders, one of the things we did while we were learning multiplication is writing a story problem and then solving each other's story problems. So those would be considered higher level demand tasks. So this was one of the tools that we shared at each school site. We also looked at the curriculum alignment, and giving teachers that tool is being able to look at, okay, what did they do at the grade level before us for that particular standard? And what are we doing with that standard? And what's the next level? Where are they headed with that standard? So having those tools with us as we do our PLTs, doing our curriculum mapping, being able to use these tools to refine it and look specifically at how can we make math, improve math, right? I think that was it.
Okay, so here's our summary of year one. Oh, going back now. Summary of year one. This team dove in. We built our team capacity. We explored the mathematical practices. We started working with open tasks like the counting collections, the Rhombus fold. We've been looking at formative data. We're looking at the tools like the green, yellow, red to make instructional decisions. We're becoming the experts first. That's year one. And now year two, we're really excited. We're starting to spread the work. We've just presented, as Maestro mentioned, we presented at Callie, Brooks, and Maddie. And now as we go into year two, we're going to build it's not just going to be the P3CC team, but it's going to be the Windsor Math Improvement Team. And we're going to start spreading the work. We're going to bring in more teachers, and we're going to make this district-wide. So we're really excited. This is a 3-year process. We're getting great coaching. We're working through the phases and all of these tools that they're providing for us. It's Ed Partners, Partners in Education. They have amazing tools, and they're teaching us these processes so then we can be the experts and bring it back to the district. So thank you so much. This is an amazing team. I'm so proud to work with all of them, and it's such an honor. And just you wait, we'll be back to do more math with you. So
Can I add a little bit? Is that okay?
Yes.
So I was also, they have a superintendent convening at the end of March. So I went to that with all the same districts. One of the questions I asked is, all of this is obviously extremely important to our kids to make sure they can think in math terms. What I asked them is, but we still have to teach them the basics, right? So they still have to know how to add, subtract. It was pointed out, they still need to know their multiplication tables, all the things. That doesn't change. So what they explained to me is essentially it's an extension of, yes, of course they have to know those things, but we also have to ask the higher level questions so they can understand the mathematical practice that were brought up. So I want to make it clear, because we had a lot of conversations at this board, right? It's not replacing all of the things. They have to know what 6 + 4 is quick in order to still do math. It's extension of, it's not replacement of. So I just want to make that clear.
Okay, well, thank you for the presentation. Thank you all for being here. Do I have any questions from?
Not a question, but a comment. So if your math is a piece of pie, then each one of you is 1/9, correct? There you go. Well, you're missing one, right? Yeah. Those are Weight Watcher portions.
I had a comment as well. I just wanted to say that this is such wonderful work, and this made me so happy to hear this presentation. And it reminds me that in my own classes that I teach, so I teach a lot of film and history classes at Sonoma State, that I often have students work in pairs or in groups because of the many things that you have said. But one of the things I noticed is that a lot of my college students, they all come in with different levels of literacy depending on where they went to high school. And sometimes some of my students are on the autism spectrum. So what I find is that in this partner work, it helps them to build friendship, team building. It helps to honor students that come in with different abilities than others so that they all feel that they're included and participating. So it just does so many wonderful things, for the future. And sometimes my students, after they've taken my classes, they write me little notes and they say, oh, thank you for, running your class that way because I met a friend and when I first started your class, I didn't know anybody and I was terrified. So I love that you're doing this, and I think that this is really building on this language of the future that I was talking about earlier, where we're thinking about, how do we work together better as a community? So I just absolutely love this. So thank you so much.
Don't kill me.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Challenging.
You want to tell them how much you love pie?
First off, yeah, those are Weight Watcher portions, 1/9 of a pie. That's not very motivational. But in all seriousness, first off, thank you for doing something. And what I mean by that is, for many, many years, I don't feel like there's been a focused effort on improving in certain areas. And now I'm seeing in our district, we had a presentation a meeting or two ago, and we're going to do some things in a certain area. And I'm excited that we're doing, and even if it doesn't turn out well, I just know that what we were doing wasn't working. So we're going to try something different, and hopefully that will work. So for me, math is a much more quantifiable thing. And so I appreciate the effort that everyone's putting in, that we all acknowledge that, hey, we're not doing, the kids aren't getting what we want them to get out of this. And we're not getting that. So, but I have a question that why is there such a resistance? I feel like, and it's not you guys, it's 30 years, not 30, 20 years of talking to all kinds of educators. Why is there such a resistance to having, or I feel like there's such a resistance to having kids memorize their times tables? I don't understand it. And the reason why I ask is because it seems like, and every time I've talked to different principals and math teachers and stuff over the years, asking, questions of why they do things a certain way, because we weren't getting the results for kids. All my kids have come through Windsor, from little all the way through, and all these kids that I've coached, thousands of kids that I'm having to help with math and do different things, and they're just not getting it as well. And so I'm always asking, why are we, so all the kids that I went to school with all had to memorize their multiplication tables. And I'm 99% positive that if you took a cohort of my generation and you measured their mathematical skills to most any cohort that I've coached coming up, my cohort era would dominate them in the mathematical area. So it seems like we're always trying to reinvent and come up with the thing that's going to be the solution for helping kids with math. But sometimes I think we get so focused on we're going to find the answer that we never go back to the one that always seemed to work. And so I'm just curious as to if any of you have any idea of why don't we have the kids memorize?
Of course. We all want to.
Yeah, of course.
So get in line and get that pie ready.
Yeah, so I teach first grade.
Okay.
I've had the honor of working for Windsor, the district, for 25 years. 17 of those years in first grade. And when I started out, it was memory. It was cutting out flashcards, and it was, let's go, boom, 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 boom. And minuto locos, or mad minutes, where you had to get it done as fast as possible. And they were getting it, boom, boom, boom. And it was speed, 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 speed. Until one of my daughters was in her class, and she had a problem. 3 + 2 is equal to 1 + 4. True or false? And she goes, Dad, the plus sign's over here and the equal, but what's this over here? And I said, Mija, that's algebra. We're going to start teaching you algebra. They're going to start teaching you algebra. So it went away from, my opinion, it went away from flash, go fast, to explain the math. Take time to explain it, because you're going to start bumping into algebra. Now, my youngest daughter right now is in 4th grade, 3rd grade. It was all set up for algebra, for setting that child to understand what algebra is and give him that higher level thinking of math. Our job is to promote talking about it, sharing ideas, telling somebody, how did you get there? How did you get to that idea? So I'm not disagreeing that memorization is good. It is good. It's a strong tool. We took it to the next level. And it is difficult for some people. Language learners as well. You get a kid who comes from Mexico, he might be able to tell you in Spanish, but he might not be able to tell you in English how he solved that problem, but he'll tell you how he solved it. So it's all about tell me how you solved it, and I'll learn from you, you'll learn from me.
And I appreciate that because, and I'm glad you brought up the conversation about, kids that come from Mexico, right? Because math is a universal language that you don't have to. One of my proudest kids that I coach, Mariano, came here, spoke Trique, had to learn to speak Spanish so then he could learn English, right?
Yeah.
And yet that kid, he was able to get into math and excel at an incredible rate, right? So again, please understand, this is not critical. This is, look, I'm a simple guy.
Yeah.
If it works, why are we not continuing to just duplicate what works? Now, I do have to say, I really do like the part about the conversation, the talking. And just like Paul had over on his page there, he had one way of doing it. And then I looked at it and I thought, oh, that's how I did it.
I taught fourth grade. I had 4 ways to do that.
Love it.
See, and that used to really irritate me because our teacher would say, here, figure this out. And I would write the answer in. And then she'd say, where's your work? And I go, right here. And she's like, no, I got to see your work. I go, it's in my head. And she goes, well, how did you get there? And I go, and I would get there different than how some other kids did. And now I'm seeing all these ways that Paul went through, and I'm going, okay, I was one of them, right? Now, 30, 40 years ago, or whatever, they didn't have 4 ways of getting to the answer where you have all these different things. So I like the fact that you're not necessarily holding the kids to one methodology, but I still think that the kids, and so to Jeremy's point, he said we're not eliminating things, we're just adding to it. But it does seem like, because memorizing for some kids is hard. Now, you were talking about the speed. We never had a speed quotient. It was, what is it? If it took you 5 minutes to memorize it, or if it took you 5 days to memorize it, there wasn't a speed component. What's that?
Mad minutes.
Mad minutes. Yeah.
I hadn't heard Minuto Loco in a
you
while,
remember,
but
right?
I do remember
that as
it
well.
brought back.
It's a different approach. We're expanding it. I do want to honor the other colleagues here that want to share their ideas. Thank you.
I also had a comment because I feel like I understand Rich's world. So maybe this will make you feel better, Rich. But if you are a business person, as you are, and you only know your multiplication tables, right? Like you know that there's just one answer for each. That's only going to get you so far if you're a business owner, right? Like besides knowing math, you have to be able to problem solve and sometimes on your feet. And sometimes you don't have all of the resources that you need. So you need to be able to find a solution. And one of the top skills that I see that is needed, especially for students that go to college, is also you need to learn how to work with others. And sometimes some of my students, they come in and they just want to be able to come in, do their work, and have the right answer and get an A. And it's like, that's not how our 21st century works anymore. You need to be able to talk and communicate and work well with others and solve through problems that don't always have a straightforward solution. So all of these skills are building in this, what they're doing. So does that make sense? So multiplication tables will only get you so far.
I just disagree that we need to agree that we need to get along with math. Math is kind of a thing. You either got 3 + 3 = 6, or it doesn't. Doesn't matter how much you talk about it. You cannot talk me into that 3 + 3 = 5.
Rich, I think you're missing it though. Think about it in a different way of reading. You have to learn how to read and sound out a word, but that doesn't get you all the way. You also have to learn how to do reading, comprehend what you're reading, right? You have to rewrite what you've learned. I mean, there's just extensions to it. So I think the point is nobody's taking away the memorization part. It's just that not every kid understands how to use math by just memorizing. You have to extend it by asking these hard questions, having conversations. I don't think anybody is taking away memorization. I mean, everybody shook their head. It's still for us.
You say taking away. I would probably say that if you went and tested the kids on the memorization, they're not memorizing numbers. If you gave them a test, if you gave our 3rd grade kids the same test that they gave us 3rd grade kids, I think our 3rd grade kids would.
Here's what I'll tell you. So NAEP, you heard of NAEP National, what is that? NAEP is,
I sent him the study.
You did too. So it's here. So over the past 50 years, actually the 70s were the lowest in terms of scoring for math. and then it rose in the 90s. There was like actually a rise in the 90s, and there was another rise in the 2000s. So that's the only assessment that we really have that's nationally normed that we can assess so long.
Now, just for clarification, it is possible that the little bitty school in Forestville that I went to was the anomaly. It is possible. Very, very possible. Because I was in the 70s, and I had 2 kids in our high school that scored perfect on the ACT. So, you know, it's like to have a curve with a rocket scientist, a doctor, the smart folks. So I get it. So I could have been in an anomaly class of kids. It must have been the well water that we were all drinking out there. So it's possible, but that's my experience. I have a kid who's 4.5, who's already got his multiplications down really, really well. And I went and saw one of those things on TV, and I bought it, and he's already doing all kinds of stuff. So I know what has worked. And I see us sometimes struggling with what we're going to do to help kids get there. And so I'm always curious as why we just don't seem to do it, but it's okay. So
I just wanted to add one quick thing, especially to build off of what our amazing maestro right there was saying, is that as a learner and now as an educator myself, math was hard for me, okay? And I am a multilingual learner. So I had some of those very close to home experiences that we've been talking about here at this meeting tonight. That was me as a student. And that was my personal experience. One of the things that I gained as a teacher and an educator from learning multiple strategies and through multimodalities was, this is what I needed back then. That numeracy was hard for me as I was acquiring English as another language because I had Spanish to bank on, right? That was my superpower. But numeracy and numbers and math was its own language to me in a sense. And it brought some challenges. So what I've appreciated as an teacher and now as an administrator is I can actually see the impact and those moments when kids go, this strategy works for my brain. Now I can talk about it confidently with my elbow partner. And even for teachers that we have and educators, we have those same aha moments as well. So it's not about deleting or saying this no longer matters, whether it's automaticity, memorization, it's there. It's just not the only thing. So just wanted to share that.
Cool.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. We're not taking action on this item, so just give you a big thank you. Yeah. Okay. I have a friend who was talking about a board meeting that she went to, and it lasted 57 minutes, which I don't think we're capable of on this board.
So. I've had those before.
But we do have several items coming up that are not super involved, like the one that we just had. So I'm going to try to move us along in a respectful manner and keep things going. So we'll go on to the Williams report. Oh yeah, we do need public comment on the presentation. Does anyone have anything? Yes. Sorry, I meant to ask for that sooner. Thank you for reminding me.
Math teacher wants to have a public comment.
I'm not kissing up to anybody, but Superintendent Decker is correct. The math facts are important, and I'm definitely not kissing up to anybody, but memorizing math facts is important. It was never bad for any child or adult human to have math facts. It's not dangerous for them to have math facts memorized. It's not a bad thing. But as a 30-year veteran math teacher, high school math teacher, I really wonder what might happen in your work if you flipped your process. What if the standards of mathematical practice is the what? and the Common Core standards is the how, as opposed to the other way, because that really is the big picture. Those standards of mathematical practice are what give us the ability to have mental flexibility, to think critically, to synthesize information, to combine it in ways that allow us to make arguments and conclusions and support our positions. And, as far as memorizing go, that's a skill like anything else. Just ask people that go into acting. When they started acting, it would take them weeks to memorize a script. And once they have been doing it for a while, they memorize it in 30 minutes. Just like, all of those crimes we had to memorize, right? That first semester was tough, but after the first semester, we could memorize them in a week, all of them for the whole semester. So, it's a skill. So we want our children to be able to learn to memorize things. It's a lost art when all they have to do is type it into Google. We are competing with now our students taking pictures of math problems, and all the steps are given to them within seconds. So just think about flipping that.
Any other public comments? Okay.
Not a comment, but permission to approach to get the boards. We're going to use them for our class.
Okay, then while we do that, we'll move on to item 5.2.
I mean, everybody steals my stuff.
This is our quarterly Williams report presented by Brian Williams.
Yes, we are doing the
Definitely a relation.
Steals my stuff. And Brian.
No relation.
Well, we had plenty of Williams complaints. They were all about me and not about this. So this is a hearing, so we do have to
Thank you, guys.
Close and then reopen and then stare awkwardly at each other for 30 seconds and then come back.
So I'll go ahead and open the hearing now, and we'll just give a 30 seconds or so for that.
Any good jokes?
And we opened at 7:58. It's 7:59 on my computer.
Well, since we got some dead time, I do on the student board and
Oh,
stuff.
gosh.
Hey, two of our wrestlers went up to Reno, the Western United States championships, and Antonio went and took second in the 105-pound weight class, and Cole, one of our fabulous freshmen, took second. And then the next week they doubled down and came down and wrestled in Fresno in the freestyle state championships, which is the qualifier for the nationals. And Antonio won the state championship and Cole placed second as well. So they got trips. They're going back to Wisconsin. They both made the national team and then they made the actual national dual team as well. So I think that's about 30 seconds.
Well, that's amazing. Congratulations to those guys.
Doing really good. And a couple of other kids we have that are just still kind of nursing some injuries, and so they're doing really well as well. So
Okay, I'm going to close the hearing. I don't think we have any items being presented. I'll ask for public comment. Okay, and then
It is a resolution.
it is a resolution. So
you need a
we will
motion,
need
correct?
a motion, a second, and a roll call.
I'll make a motion that we approve Mr. Williams' act.
I'll second.
Okay, Jen, can we have a roll call, please?
Stephanie Ahmad.
Yes.
Paul Cagorno.
Yes.
Rich Carnation.
Yes.
Malinali Lopez.
Yes.
Zoe Furtman-Kavich.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Next is consideration of approval of the CSBA recommended board policy updates for 2022. Okay, so we had a first reading of this at our last meeting. We've had an opportunity to review all of the changes. This is bringing us current through 2022 for those who are maybe watching and wondering, why are you doing policies from way back when? There are a ton of changes that happen every year, and it takes a while to integrate them all into the policies, but we're actually hoping to get caught up in the next couple months and be current to 2025. So this is the first step in doing that. I've reviewed all of the changes, especially the significant ones, and I'm comfortable accepting these today. Is there any discussion from anyone?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we approve these my comment is that when we get to 5.4, I'm going to make another recommendation. And there's some things in 5.3 that I would just like us to look at, but I think I'd like to have that done at the policy subcommittee level. There's about maybe 3 or 4 of them. And so I'm okay with this going forward, but I want to review them, and that would be the proper venue to do that, which is what I'm going to recommend actually for 5.4. So again, a motion to approve 5.3, and I'd like to have us review a few things, but do the normal channels of the policy review that I'm going to.
But we're going to make the updates now with the understanding that we might pull things to look at more closely. And I actually think it might be helpful to come current and then pull things, because then we'll be working with what is current.
Correct.
Okay.
So I agree with that, but I also do have some comments about things that I feel would need to be clarified in 5.3. So I have some specific comments about that.
And that's what I'm hoping that we would do at the policy subcommittee level, because, I mean, it's already getting later, and versus getting into getting into the weeds right now. Let's get into the weeds.
And I think maybe if we take those policies that there's questions, we can bring them back individually. So then we have that as a policy discussion and a vote specifically on that policy potentially.
Is it a specific policy that you had questions about, or was it numerous policies?
There's numerous. So I'm wondering, when we have that, is it at a regular board meeting when we have that policy, or is it at a policy?
No, it's a subcommittee.
We would pull those into a policy subcommittee meeting.
Okay. Yeah, because there's several items.
Stephanie and Bill are the 2 board reps on that policy subcommittee, but it doesn't mean you can't have a special meeting if you needed to. But I think that the process is they review, they make sure they're comfortable. So maybe if you give them, give Stephanie and Bill
do you have, can you just share your comments, either by email, or I can take a picture and we can just.
Yeah, it sounds like Rich also has comments.
But we can try to incorporate them and then bring them back potentially at the subcommittee level.
So in this list, just so people at home listen, I mean, this is like 2,000 pages.
Well, that's the next item.
I know, but this was 680 pages of stuff for just this 2020. And it's a little bit daunting, but then when you also go hey, we're going to go over these things, and then the federal and state government right now are changing all kinds of stuff that are going to make a lot of these things moot anyway. So it's almost like, I almost kind of want to go, why don't we wait and see?
Well, we pulled some of those out though, Rich. So Brian, you want to talk about that?
So Melanie, so my point was, there's 3 or 4 things that I was going to write down what the numbers are. And I was going to think a little bit more about what specifically of those things kind of seemed to have me itchy a little bit, and then go and bring those to the subcommittee, because 90, of the 684 pages or whatever it is, it's like 2 pages worth that I want to kind of go over at another time, because I want to kind of have that policy, but I don't want to stop us from approving this, because we can at any time go and look at a review of board policy. And it sounds like you have 4 or 5 as well. They might even be some of the same. So I just think that that's a proper venue of how we should do this.
And definitely want to address them, not trying to push all this forward, just maybe try to get us updated. And then as long as we know what they are, then we can really discuss them at that subcommittee level.
If we could get at least the numbers of the policies that you want to look at more closely, I think that would be really helpful.
I have some of them here, or maybe I don't. I think I just wrote down the language. But
That's okay.
I'll have to look at. It was under item 5.3, board policy 0460, in regards to the LCAP.
Yeah, let's just send it, and then let's review it, because we can bring everything back
There's
every
multiple
month.
updates to the LCAP. So I, had some questions about that, and then there was one item about AI.
Got it.
Because one of the things we might do is we might be able to say, hey, there's 4 policy that we have a question about, right?
Yep.
We'll take one at a board meeting, one at a time.
You got it.
So we got 10 or 15 or 20 minutes to talk about a thing if we need that long. But if we're going to do it justice for all of them, I mean, somebody else, the CSBA, they're writing all this stuff. And most of it's boilerplate. But like for me, one of the things was I don't like the way certain language is written that makes it seem like they're kind of taking or usurping some of what I think is our board's autonomy to do certain things. And I just want to make sure that it's written in a way that it doesn't appear that we're giving up our ability to review certain things and what have you.
Okay.
So, but we can go over those at another time because I don't want to cut it short, and I also don't want to approve it and then we'll find out what's in it later. So
totally, I understand that.
But again, the vast majority of what is there is good standard boilerplate stuff. There's just a few things, and I want to have us review it in the right venue and the right time, so that way we can all talk about it. But it's just not, I don't think this now.
No, and just to be clear, we did review the policies with Stephanie, and it was mostly Stephanie, I think, at the time. But we did go through our process of the subcommittee, and she had looked and said, okay, it's good to bring to the board. And so that's why it came this way. But
it's a lot of updates, and
It's
that's
a
how.
lot.
And I mean, I've been involved in the policy subcommittee the whole time I've been on the board. It's always a lot of
Yes.
updates, and this is actually the most organized it's been, just because technology has caught up, and now we can easily use AI to help us redline every change and summarize exactly what we're doing, which makes it a lot easier to digest as board members, so we can actually see much more clearly. But ultimately, we are responsible for all of the policies
Yes.
and any changes that we adopt, and we have to be the ones who actually read everything and make
Absolutely.
sure that it's
important.
correct.
I did. I asked
So-
AI. I said, what do you think about this AI? And it said, do what Stephanie told you.
That was the AI I gave him. But yeah, if you're comfortable accepting it today and then just share any feedback that you have with Jeremy.
Yeah.
And then also, I think it's maybe worthwhile to also look at the changes for 2023 and 2024 that are the next agenda item before even pulling any policies back, because that might change your comments. Because
I did look at all of those, so just so I understand what you're suggesting is that we forward our comments to you.
Yes.
And then are those items coming back individually at a future board meeting?
I think they would. If you forward me a comment about an individual item, unless it's like a consistent message that we could just fix.
Yeah, no, it's
I
a
think
couple of
then we
different
review
things.
it and then we bring those back individually. I mean, you guys
I think if
discuss
it's
it.
like a style issue, it's maybe something.
No, it's more a substantive type of
Yeah,
issue
just send
in
it in.
terms of like how we do things and what direction we take.
Then I think we have to have a bigger discussion about that, and it's worth giving it some time.
I think so because, to be honest, I'm very concerned about AI and the number of mistakes it makes, and also the fact that it has a racial bias. It really concerns me how we use it. And I think that we need a conversation about not whether we should use it or not, but like how we should use it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Then on this item,
So I made a motion.
you made a motion. Did anyone second? Do you remember? Do we have a second? I will second. I'm also going to go out. Any public comment on 5.3? Further discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the changes as reflected on the attachment to the agenda?
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you. And then we'll move on to 5.4. So 5.4,
Just
do you want to
discussion.
tell us any more about it, or do you think we covered it?
It's the same process, except for I got faster. So I got 2 years done instead of just one. And just to assure the board that the next one you get after this is just January 2025. So there's just a handful of policies. So it's much easier to have a robust discussion about the upcoming ones. This will be the last time ever that we try to do 2 years in one vote.
Yeah, that was the question I was going to ask you is how often do they have an update every month?
Quarterly.
So if we got a quarterly update, say, hey, board, here's a quarterly update. Take your time, read through it. We're gonna talk about this in a month or two.
Yeah, so next month you'll get the preview of the January 2025 updates. And then once you approve those, we will be caught up until probably July.
Yes, yeah, I mean, that's a better.
Way better.
Yeah.
And I wanted to mention also is we pulled all of the Title IX information out because they had made substantial changes. And then when the administration changed, they reversed all of those changes and brought us back to 2020. So I just pulled all of that out. And so our current language, so that's one example of we didn't even bring that because it changed since our update happened.
So that was my other part of the question. The January one, if you could forward it to us, because we might be talking about, whether we're going to have blueberries in our pancakes or not, and then the next thing that we're going to look at, there is no more blueberries, right? So if we could maybe kind of look at this, even though we're catching up,
Right.
I don't want to
So-
spend any time looking at 2023 when 2025 wiped
Yeah.
out whatever we were looking at, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So if we took a little bit more time, but almost worked from current backwards, maybe, first off, we got to identify whatever issues that we have individually with maybe any policy, and then see if that already got auto-corrected.
So one solution is like maybe we can figure out together, like, do we want to prioritize getting caught up to January 2025, or do we want to pull some of these things? I think you've
recommend
already
getting
thought it
caught
through.
up.
Sorry, what?
I'd recommend getting caught up because
Okay.
we can always pull
Yeah.
any item that is approved by you guys.
But
the
to Rich's
following month.
point, some of the changes that were adopted right up to January 2025 are probably going to be a lot of the things that are going to be rolled back.
Could be.
So we just want to look at that and make sure that we're not doing a bunch of work and then undoing a bunch of work.
Yeah, that actually, what all of you are saying brings up a good point, because one challenge was that I looked at our board agenda on Monday, and on Monday it wasn't that populated yet. And then I didn't have time to look at it again until like early today. And then all of a sudden there's this like huge thing to look at, right? And it could have been posted earlier, but like for me, like having a full-time job is difficult to balance with this. So I don't know. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I feel like I haven't done like the close review that I wanted to do just because of lack of time, because it was literally posted like a few days ago at the most, right? So it's hard to review so much information at one time. I kind of agree with your point that we need time to sift through it.
Totally understand.
Because these are important things, even though I understand that we're in this like political landscape where things are constantly changing, but it's an important things, even though some of the details are small, but they're important.
Yeah. But keep in mind that this is a first read, so we're not approving any of this today.
Okay.
I don't even think we're taking a vote.
5.4
For
is the first
5.4. For the other ones, we had gotten those last month. But for these ones that we just got, we're not approving them.
Correct.
So now we have them, and we have a month to look at them and make any comments. And then,
I know that a month sounds like a long time, but the last 2 months of my life have been,
it's gone really fast.
no, it's been painfully overloaded.
Yeah.
With just, basically, 18 to 20 hours a day worth of stuff. And the pile just keeps getting higher. So I'm hoping that that's going to slow down. But there is, I don't want to just say it's okay when I know that there's a few things. And again, the vast majority of it is good. But I don't want our board's a little bit different. We sometimes don't see things exactly the way that folks in Sacramento see them. And so, and sometimes things are worded to where you could read it two different ways, and the same, anyhow, we just want to be able to look at it, do it right. And the ability to bring it back on a specific thing always has been the case. And I just wanted to reiterate that, hey, we're approving it, but I like to be able, when we have a little bit more time, review. And sometimes things settle out. It's like the little snow globe. When we read 2023 or 2024, those things might autocorrect. They may have fixed it already. So
it allows us to do a closer look as well. So I think it's a good process.
Yep. So anyhow, on 5.4 is a reading only.
It's a reading, so any public comment on that item? Okay, seeing none, I think we move on. Next is Pete. This is 5.5, consideration of approval of board action to reclassify select RSP teachers to learning specialists.
Yeah, thank you. So tonight, as part of the All Means All initiative, which we talked extensively about at our last board meeting, we looked at the part of that transition being reclassification of select RSP teachers. And so tonight, I'm just asking the board to approve reclassification of select RSP teachers to the new classification of learning specialist.
Okay, any questions or discussion?
Public comment.
Public comment? All right.
I did have one question.
Sure.
So I actually did some research on this because when I looked at it, I was like, I don't understand. What does this mean, right? What is this reclassification? So I did a little bit of research, and my understanding is that this is an improvement to what we have because the learning specialists will also, for example, discuss future strategies and outside resources that are needed for the student. Is this correct? I just want to make sure that I understand what this change means.
You want me to take it, Pete? You go ahead. So it's a redefining of duties, essentially. An RSP teacher has a caseload that they manage, a learning specialist would not. That's really the major change. And with the review, with the change of the job description, the learning specialist is going to meet the needs of all learners. An RSP teacher really is focused only on special education students. Although we've mixed that up a little bit, and we have had our RSP teachers helping some gen ed students, but really, if you're looking at a job description, it's not consistent with what it would be normally. So this is just, it fits our model with what the real duties are for our learning specialists moving forward, because we split that case manager position off. So we really just we split the RSP teacher duties in a lot of ways, and then added a little bit to each side of those different job
You're
descriptions.
saying then is all students are getting extra help versus just the students with disabilities?
Correct. The learning specialist could also be called an intervention teacher. It could be called a lot of different things based on what the job duties are.
Right, and I just really wanted to understand this because in light of our recent, meeting about, policies about students with disabilities, I remember there was a man that stood up and he said, oh, you really need to understand when you make changes to job descriptions that it's really serving the needs of the student. So I just had that in my mind. So I just want to make sure that we all understand what this means.
No, that's your point well taken.
Yeah, no, I heard the same comment in that meeting, and I was thinking the same thing. Is this helping that? Or is it perceived to help? Or is it perceived, even it might help, but is it perceived not to be helping? So
you guys already approved the job descriptions last month, I believe it was, right? So this really is now the job description's been approved, and now we're assigning people to these jobs specifically based on the changes that we've made the decision to make.
Right.
Okay.
One person for now.
Yeah.
Finally, Rich agrees with me.
all day long, twice on Sunday.
So okay, I think you made a motion. Did I get a motion yet?
I'll make a motion to approve, let's see, this is 5 points.
5.
The 5.5 reclassification?
Yes.
And I'll second it.
Awesome. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great, thank you. Okay, moving to 5.6. This is board policy 4112.2. Pete, you're also presenting.
Yep. So for clarity, although it says in background that I am, or the recommendation that I'm asking for approval, I'm not. Just for review. And actually, I saw an update in Brian's packet as well for June 2023. So a lot of the updated material you'll see, because I presented both the 2016 and the 2023 versions, as the 2016 version is the version that we have adopted, and the 2023 version is what CSBA recommends. But really our focus with this is the TK specific credentialing items, because this specific board policy addresses the credentialing needs of our teachers within the district. And they've recently updated the TK specific requirements to include, since 2015, it has included the early childhood education units or the childhood development units, but they have also recently added, more recently, they added the supervisor permits, but now you can also have basically, if you've worked for a certain amount of time, you can get credit up to 24 units of study. So we are proposing that 1 year in a TK classroom equates to 24 units of study. And you'll see that in the third attachment that I have on this document, that is our suggested criteria for this. I'm going to probably now talk to Brian, because his update will correspond with my update. So I will take my update, just that portion, the TK portion, apply it to his. The only thing that we're asking is that it gets approved before the August 1st deadline, because that will have an effect on some of our teachers' ability to be qualified for our new year.
for the 26.
And this is just a first reading, and you'll bring it back next
will.
month?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Then I think that should be no problem.
Yeah. I would just focus on just the TK stuff because the rest is going to be part of Brian's and my update again for.
And that's why we just need to get them updated so it's not messy anymore.
Yeah, I
so
tried
we
to
can
do too
bring
much in one
specific
document.
policies.
It's kind of a mess.
Agreed. Okay, great. Any comments from the board? Any public comment? Okay, then thank you. We'll move on to 5.7, which is also you.
Hey, welcome back.
Welcome back. Okay, uniform complaint procedure. I know this changed and then changed.
Oh my goodness.
And I think it changes every year.
P again.
Yeah.
Yes, I just like to bring it every month for all of you.
And I believe this is a legal requirement.
It is.
Right, so we have to do
annually
this.
I have to do it.
Yes.
But we should be in compliance this year. What I found out recently, because I have received an email from our friends at the CDE, is that we're not. And I also learned that there is something called a CMT, which is a compliance management tool. So when we had our FPM, the process that they use to
Federal Program Monitor.
Thank you. That process came through 2 years ago. Sharon was in Brian's chair at that time, and she was the coordinator of services for that service. And I didn't have access to the CMT. I submitted all my materials to her, so the last time it was updated was 2022. I sent my updates to the person I was working with at the CDE. They assumed that I was also sending it through the CMT, which I am not because I had no idea it existed because I wasn't the coordinator. So, Brian, you're going to receive an email from the CDE. You are still a coordinator, and I'm also now a coordinator, so I will be able to apply the new language, which is all in there. It's updated for this year, and then you'll see it again pretty soon, so probably in August. As soon as the CDE comes out with their new requirement, I will update us again, and then I will update in the CMT, and hopefully you won't see it again until August 2027.
Okay.
I'm curious, could you do a little homework for me? I mean,
Certainly.
we've been on the board for a while, and every year we have that Willie Brown thing that comes up.
Yeah.
And it's obviously named after Willie Brown. So I'm just curious, we have this Williams guy in almost everything. Who's the Williams guy who's in every Williams something that keeps coming before us? Was he a president, a mayor?
I think it was a party and a case.
It's called the Williams complaint. So
Yeah,
somebody named
there was
Williams
a
who
case
complained.
called
there
Williams.
was a Williams that complained about stuff?
I'm assuming.
Williams settlement.
Yeah.
Williams v. Holy State of California.
Yeah.
Really? Any relation? You're all related, right? No, I mean, I am seriously.
I will look into it.
I'm curious a little bit.
I'll look into
How
it.
do you think you paid for college?
We have so many different whatever.
Okay.
I'll do it just play next
It's
time.
one of those things that just, you just want to know.
Okay, you got it.
Not a high priority, but just if you stumble across
All
it, see if it's Brian's uncle or something.
I think Brian's probably looking it up right now.
I've already found
And
it.
he will pull it into ChatGPT and have a digital presentation done for you in moments.
Yeah. Okay.
thank you.
Any discussion from the board on this item, though, the uniform complaint procedure update?
And this is just
It's not exciting.
informational, right?
No, we are approving this.
Oh, we are?
Yes.
Okay.
Any public comment? Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion before we vote? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And although that item's closed, so the board knows, it is updated. The updated version is on our website. So anybody who accesses it through our website is using the updated material with the updated language. It's just not updated with the CDE.
Great, and you are still on.
Here I am again.
5.8, here you
Hello.
are again.
Yes.
Consideration of approval of declaration of need, fully qualified, I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but of need fully qualified educators for the 2025-2026 school year.
Yep, another annual item. So each year, we're required to file a declaration of need for fully qualified educators in order to employ teachers and on emergency permits or waivers. It's just a protective step to ensure that if we need to put somebody on a permit or a waiver, we can. The CDE recognizes that it is something that people have had to do. We've had to do quite a few. Although in celebration, I'd like to say that we went from 11 permits this year, 24-25, to right now, we only have one for next year. So that'll be good.
That's great. Any questions or comments? Any public comment? Not a resolution, so just a vote. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept whatever this 5.8 Declaration of Need.
And I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Pete.
Thanks, everyone.
And then our last item, Jeremy's going to take this one. This is discussion of Administrative Regulation 613.2, animals at school. Long awaited. I know lots of work went into this.
Sheila and I are besties. So at one point, this came before the board, just to remind you, a month ago, the board had said, Jeremy, please work with CSEA. We had the opportunity to do that. We learned some things. So we actually drafted something that we thought we'd bring before you. We then had it run through legal counsel just to make sure it was all okay. And we learned that we had removed emotional support animals from our allowable animals to come to school campuses, but they're actually protected under, oh goodness, see, I should be looking at the policy. And
Under
I'm not.
California law.
Yeah, under California law. And so we made sure to include the proper language within the policy to make sure we're adhering to California law. There was a couple of additions that Sheila asked me to put in. I put those in to make sure we're on the same page. So that's, without me going through the entire policy, I want you to know that we've worked together. We have a statement at the beginning that says it's our policy to not allow animals on school grounds. And then we detail all the legal ways that they can come because we have to be in adherence with California law.
So I really would love to have this done by 8:30. So I'm going to ask just this one question.
Okay.
When or how is a miniature horse a service animal?
It is outlined in California law, specifically miniature horses. And could I tell you why I do not know, Rich?
I don't know how that could work, but because there's a bunch of language in there that says that you could bring it and then staff is not even able to ask why, how, or whatever. And there's a whole bunch of stuff and I'm just trying to figure out how, because somebody could consider a Shetland pony as a miniature horse.
If you would like, since this is a first read, I can come back with that information at the next board meeting so we know the history of how miniature horses got included.
Beautiful. And then we can still be done by.
I think we might have.
We'll do it next time, next month.
Yep, next month.
So this is a first read. We're not approving.
First read, yes, because this is the first time. First read?
Yes.
Yeah, first read.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay, so
I
we
think
have
I didn't
time.
ask for approval, right? I just said discussion.
We love our policies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we need to get them done. We're behind. COVID put us way behind.
There was a lot of people that did a lot of work to get us here. There's a whole bunch of compromises and a whole bunch of courtesies.
Absolutely.
By everybody. And a lot of people know who all the courtesies were. And I appreciate everybody's goodwill and getting to a happy place for everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, I think Sheila and I worked well together. So.
Okay, any public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none,
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
we're not done.
I thought it was.
There's one more item, which is future board meeting items. I do have a couple of things, but does anyone else have anything that they want to?
I think just the obvious one that will bring back some of those policy updates. I think that that's really important.
Okay, and then I had a couple, which is, one is out of our study session that we had last week, we talked about having a further in-depth discussion on the recommendations that were presented.
We are going to need lots of time to do some things before that happens. We actually still have to go through the recording to make sure we itemize every single question and comment that was made to make sure addressing all of those.
Okay.
So I think that I'll just say that it's not going to come in May.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to need a little time to really.
Okay, so
put this
before
through.
we even discuss the three recommendations from the end of the meeting,
We need to make sure we
we're
do
going
our
to do some work communicating with the.
That is my plan. If you'd like something different, that's my current plan because that's what I promised everyone.
Yeah, no, I think that's really going to work out well. If you communicate with the families and then we do have that discussion after,
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. But I think we should do it before our summer break.
Okay.
So before, like, in one of our June meetings.
Okay.
Okay. And then the other thing is we need to have a study session. Well, I'm not exactly sure how I want to do it, but we need to talk about revive the climate change policy.
Yeah.
And in conjunction with just waste reduction and the garbage contract that's being renewed, I think we can have some really interesting and valuable conversations. I've had some really interesting conversations with community members about the garbage contract, and it's fascinating.
It is.
So I don't know if that should be a study session or if that should be start with the policy subcommittee and then be a study session, but we'll figure that out.
Okay.
But I think that, I don't know. Anyone have any strong feelings about wanting to have a study session?
And we should probably say the background. Do you realize that our contract for trash is with the town right now? It's not paid for by us. And they're going to be going out for a new contract. And there has to be a decision whether we're included or not. How much is our cost? $600,000, Austin?
The recent estimate that they gave me was about $770,000.
And that's way higher than it was a couple years ago when they told me about this. So I think,
Jeremy, just so if people listen at home, basically, when the town went and did its policy years ago, and they went out to bid, in everybody's
taxes,
garbage rates was a small portion that amortized what the school's cost was and what the fire department's cost was. It was spread out amongst all the ratepayers that had trash collection.
Yes.
And so they've estimated, well, and the townspeople have complained, hey, why is our trash so high? And so looking at whatever that is to kind of isolate it out. So anyhow, that's why they're looking at it. And so it's a question, it's not so much a question for us as much as a question of educating everybody in town to say, you guys are subsidizing the school's costs. That if they don't, that's an additional $700,000 that's going to come out of our budget that we don't have.
Yeah.
So
do we want to talk about maybe the best way, Stephanie, you and I, of how to present all of this?
I think, I think that is we can do that in conjunction with the policy. So I think we can start with the policy subcommittee
Makes
if
sense.
everyone's fine with that, and then bring it to a broader study session if we feel like we need to do that.
probably something jointly with the town council and planning commission maybe.
Potentially, yeah. Okay, then that was all I have. And then I do want to, we have a longtime employee, Yvette James, who passed away recently, very recently. And I wanted to adjourn the meeting in her honor tonight and take a moment of silence to just reflect on all she gave to our district and the impact that she had on our students and her colleagues. So with that, we adjourn the meeting in her honor. Thank you for attending tonight.